You know, women that just seem to have that confidence about them, or it's, of course, me. Of course, it's going to happen for me. Why not me? They have this vortex of irresistibleness that the men just seem to flock to. I want to share with you today why that is, how you can get it, and it involves me almost getting a restraining order. And if you stay until the very end of this video, I'm going to give you insight into a mistake I guarantee that you are making. Why? Because we're all making it. We make it daily, and it's holding us back from being the most irresistible female that we could possibly be. And we're starting right now. If you enjoy hanging out with me every Thursday, I highly recommend that you hit the bell and subscribe so that you get notified when new videos just like this irresistible one get posted every week. I specialize in helping women who struggle with confidence, moving from toxic relationship to toxic relationship, knowing they want something else and knowing that it's possible because they see other women doing it, having what they want, but they can't understand why it's not working for them. And what I do for them is I help them upgrade their life in all areas. And what this does is this begins to attract a totally different guy. Why? Because all of a sudden they're becoming irresistibly themselves. So what do I mean by being irresistible themselves? You see, in our culture, being irresistible, we kind of have this idea that it's, oh, it's so cold in here, right? It's this kind of sexual overtone of a woman, and the man just can't take his eyes off of her physicality because she's so beautiful, right? No, not long lasting, doesn't work, attracts the wrong guy. To be irresistible yourself is how we attract the right guy. And how we do that is getting very clear on what you want out of your life. What do I mean by this? Confidence comes with clarity. Clarity on who you are, what you want, and what you won't stand for. There is nothing more irresistible to a good guy, a guy that wants to take you home to meet his family, than those three things. Getting clarity on those three areas of who you are and what you want and what you won't stand for takes experience, takes time. And a lot of my clients struggle with this, where they say, I don't know what I want. I don't know who I am. Well, what if we just decided to pick one thing? Finish this sentence for me. What I want is fill in the blank. What's the first thing that popped into your head? What if we started there? Whatever that was. Let's board the freight train to irresistible town and just go for it. We silence the naysayers, the chatter in our mind, all the reasons why we shouldn't do that, the dizzying effect that our subconscious mind likes to have on us to keep us playing small and not living the life that we want because it wants to keep us safe, not happy. What if we just went for it, board the freight train and just go for one thing? An example of when I did this was I was living on Maui. We moved to Oahu. And I was waiting for a job to work with homeless teens in Waikiki. And I knew that this job was going to take some time to get. And I thought, well, what if I tried my hand at another interest? I've always wanted to be a travel agent. What if I got a job as a travel agent? I'll never forget. I was lying on the beach and I called up this first travel agency and I said, hi, my name is Kellie. I was interested in if you were hiring any travel agents. And they said, oh, we're not hiring. And then also your degrees aren't in the travel industry. And I thought, degrees in the travel industry? I didn't know you needed to have a degree to plan somebody's trip. Well, we hang up and I thought, no, I think I'm going to get this job. So for the next 2 weeks, almost every single day, I would call this travel agency and just say, hey, it's Kellie, just checking in, just making sure that that job that I was interested in is something that possibly I could come in for an interview for. And it got to the point where I wore them down. They said, fine, come in. We will interview you. There ended up being this hilarious test of 2 trains leaving the station, one going 60 miles per hour, one going 40 miles per hour, the speed of blank, 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 what got there first, which train got there first. You know those math problems. And it'd been a few years since I'd been in college, so I was a little nervous that I wouldn't pass the test. But guess what? I just did it anyways, because when you're on the freight train, you just do whatever it takes to get what you want. And I was fully on board. I take the test. I'm not sure how I passed. I'm okay in math, but it obviously isn't my strong suit. And they were shocked. It was interesting to see the look on my boss's face when he thought, oh, wow, I might have to hire this woman. Go through the interviewing process, totally get the job. Why? Because I had the degrees? Because they were hiring? Because they took one look at me and thought, wow, you would be perfect for this company. Absolutely not. They almost had to get a restraining order to have me stop calling their office. So to be truly irresistible in your life, as soon as you lock on to something that you want, you board the freight train to Irresistible Town, and you get a restraining order until you get it. Okay, let's side note. You gotta love those side notes. If it's a guy you want, let's not get a restraining order. But what you want to do, you see a guy you want, you take all the proper steps that you have control of on that freight train to ensure that you get the guy. There's very proper steps, which I teach in the Find the One program. If we don't take the proper steps, you may actually get a restraining order. But what we're talking about here today is becoming irresistible in your life to attract the guy that you want. And it's by boarding that freight train. It's by silencing any reason for why you can't have exactly what you want. You can have whatever you want. You are that irresistible girl that you see that says, of course me, why not me? For sure, me. You are that woman. You just don't know it yet because you haven't had enough experience with boarding the freight train and going for it. What if you got that restraining order in all the areas of your life that you may have doubted yourself? You may have wondered, could I go for it? Should I go for it? What would my mom think? What would my sister think? What would my high school friends think? What if you just went for it? Let's board the freight train. If you are somebody who hesitates to board the freight train to Irresistible Town by getting those restraining orders in your life of taking exactly what you want, I want to give you a sneak peek into why that is. Here's the dealio. Your mind doesn't want you boarding that train, because if you board the train and you go for what you want and you become the woman that gets the guy that you've always wanted because you are irresistible in all the right ways, you are opening yourself up for heartbreak, rejection, so many scary things that your subconscious mind wants to keep you safe from, pull you back, not take one step onto that train. So what happens is when we take that first step, you can kind of literally visualize, oh, I filled in the blank for what it is that I want, and I'm ready to take that first step in getting those restraining orders in my life, is that your mind is going to do what's called filling in the gaps. For survival, our mind is wired to know all the information. So what happens is that when we collect small amounts of data, we fill in the gaps with our own story. So here's a fact, we fill in the gap with our story. Here's a fact, we fill in another gap. So you can kind of think of it like there's this paragraph. But there's these blotted out black spots that you actually don't have the facts to. But what we do, our mind says, no. We know it all. We've got it figured out. This is why, and this is why. And so it has figured it out for us. The problem is what it's figured out for us is that we aren't good enough, smart enough. We shouldn't go for it. It's too scary. It will always do this. How many times does your subconscious mind push a thought into your face that says, go for it? Get up in public, speak, go up and talk to that guy. Go for the job that you don't think that you're worthy of. It never does, right? The insecurity is all here. It's always going to pull you back. It's always going to keep you playing small. That's its job. So we have to tripwire. We have to understand why it's doing that first, which is to keep us safe. Second, we need to understand exactly what it's doing is it's filling in the gaps that we don't know. Perfect example. I was working with a client. Her name is Mandy, and she wanted to board the freight train. Attracted all the wrong guys, had a narcissistic husband for 10 years, and she's really just trying to pull her life together. And she's really struggling. Why? Because her subconscious mind likes her right where she is. It was filling in the gaps. She's ready to board the train. She's ready to go for a job that's going to increase her salary and her status. And what does she do immediately when she boards the freight train to start getting those restraining orders along the way? Oh, they won't want me. I don't have enough degrees. I don't have enough experience. I have worked in this industry and they want somebody in that industry. And I asked her, well, is that what they told you? Well, no, but that's what but that, blah, blah, blah. Who told you that? Nobody told you that. You told you that. You filled in the blanks that's going to keep you at the train station, living your same life. What if we went out and we filled in the gaps with real facts, real information? What if we didn't stop until we got what we wanted? For me, with the travel agency, I did not have that degree, and I could have heard that. And I even had the facts there. They said, no, you can't have this job. Well, but that's just round one. We haven't even begun to start this party. You haven't even begun to start the party of boarding the freight train to Irresistible Town and getting exactly what you want. And why? Because your mind is filling in the gaps with the story that you created from years of experience of who you are, what you deserve, what people think of you, how people see you, that's not even real. This is why we all struggle in going after our dreams. This is why on our deathbed, so many people have so many regrets, not of the things that they did or went for, of the things that they didn't. What if you just went for everything? What if you didn't wait for somebody to say you're not good enough? What if you went out and figured it out for yourself that maybe you weren't good enough, but you did this and now all of a sudden you're good enough? It takes way less than we think to get what we want once we board the freight train. Once we start collecting the restraining orders that get us what we want in our life. Same for relationships. She has been craving to have that healthy relationship her whole life. And the gaps that she filled in was, I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not funny enough. The good guys always want this girl. The good guys are looking for something else. They're not looking for me. Well, how many good guys have you been on a date with that have told you that? And what is it that we need to do to give you the clarity that you are good enough? Your subconscious mind, again, it's pulling you back. It's not allowing you to board the freight train of getting the relationship that you want by going after what it is you want, because it wants to keep you small. You are good enough. I asked Mandy when she had said, oh, everybody is funnier and smarter. I said, how many relationships that are healthy that you know that the couple has very vanilla personalities? How many couples do you know where she's not skinny, she's not pretty, she's boring, she's not smart, she's not successful in the eyes of what the world would say is what it takes to have a healthy, loving relationship? There are so many people that are out there living the life that they want that don't have what we think we're supposed to have and what it's supposed to look like. Remember that supposed to list that we crush and throw away? In our love life, we have that same supposed to. Well, as soon as I lose weight, as soon as I get the job, as soon as I get the house, as soon as what if we crumpled it up and threw it away? What if today you decided to board that freight train because you stopped filling in the gaps with the information that you don't know, with your own story that isn't even real? Tomorrow, after watching this video, I'm going to give you a massive action plan right here. I want you to think of the thing, right? The thing that you want, that you filled in the blank for. I want you to visualize yourself starting to board the freight train, and I want you to pay attention to that sneaky little devil of a mind that's going to, your subconscious thought will push a thought forward. I guarantee it, of why you shouldn't do it. Pay very close attention. Whatever the but is, that's your story. I want to do it, but I'm not going to board the train because that's it. All you need to do there is say, I'm going for it anyways. And you board the train and you take off looking for your first restraining order in getting what it is that you want. That's when we get clarity on who we are, what we want, and never, ever settling for less than you deserve again. So if you found this video absolutely irresistible, I highly recommend that you watch my video on how to make him obsessed with you. It gives you great insight into how you can show up in your relationships and being more irresistible. And in the comments below, I want to hear what it is that you want and the first restraining order that you are going after. And never, ever forget that you were meant to love and be loved, and you don't have to get irresistible all on your own. Let's do it together. Book a discovery call with me. Bye for now.